all white people should feel guilty for slavery, then all black people should feel guilty for committing 54% of the murders in America. And to be crystal clear, I'm not apologizing for anything that I didn't participate in, and neither should you.
I feel so silly. This video is so late. I was just about to go shopping and I realized I forgot to make my Juneteenth video. So this video is going to be late. Happy Juneteenth. I wanted to make a Juneteenth video this year because I think a lot of people think of Juneteenth as like a liberal holiday, some holiday they made up or they coined to be their own, but it's an American holiday. Ironically enough, it's another time in history where the Republicans had to tell the Democrats to stop having slaves again and again and again. One of the very first times the Republicans had to tell Democrats to stop having slaves was back in 1854 when the Anti-Slavery Party was created, known today as the Republican Party, when they went to go save Joshua Glover from the prison, freeing the Democrat slaves yet again. Back then, the Democrats were called the White Supremacy Party. And then Republican President Lincoln in 1863 freed the slaves yet again. Well, supposedly even after Lincoln freed the slaves, Democrats like to hold on to their slaves. Just kidding. I don't know if it's because we didn't have the technology. Maybe we didn't have papers then. Maybe we didn't have the postal service. I don't know. I didn't do my research that far back. The postal service was around in the 1700s. But some Democrats are pretending like they just didn't know they weren't allowed having slaves anymore, and they kept having their slaves. So back in 1865, some Republican general had to travel to Texas to let all the Democrats know, hey guys, the slaves are free. Stop having slaves. Let go of your slaves.
Let me tell you something about Juneteenth you probably didn't know. Even if you did know, share this video anyway because you'd be surprised how many people do not know these facts. Juneteenth started here in Texas, and the only reason it exists is because it commemorates Union General Gordon Granger having to go all the way down to the beaches of Galveston, Texas on June 19th, 1865 to tell the slaves there that they were free. Now, if you know your history, you know Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation 2.5 years prior. So why were the slaves not already freed? It was because the Southern Democratic slave owners of the day did not want to abide by Abraham Lincoln's proclamation, so they literally kept their own slaves in the dark for over 2 years. So Gordon Granger had to go all the way down there to essentially force them to free the slaves they were going to keep indefinitely because they did not want to release their control over them. Now, those are all facts you can look up easily for yourself. And most people have no idea those facts are actually true. And honestly, Democrats do not want you to know that information because it paints them in a negative light and it reframes the entire framework of Juneteenth. It was only made a federal holiday pretty recently, in 2021 actually, when Joe Biden turned it into a national holiday. And one of the reasons the left did that is because they want to essentially rewrite history as it relates to this topic and basically smooth over what their party was responsible for in the past. Now, I already know what's going to happen. We're going to have people who are going to say, oh yeah, well, the party switched. Let me tell you why that argument makes zero sense whatsoever. First of all, if the parties did switch and Democrats did care about the black community, you would see evidence of that in our communities. But do you see that evidence? No. Additionally, saying the party switch does two things. Number one, it acknowledges the fact that Democrats were the original party of the KKK. But two, it's an extra leap in absurdity because in order to believe the party switch, you have to believe that the Republicans and Democrats basically met together and said, okay, we're going to shake hands and switch sides now. Just apply basic logic to this argument. It's almost like saying, okay, yeah, I had an abusive ex-girlfriend or ex-boyfriend, right? But they said they changed, so I'm going to take them back, even though they do nothing for me now. That is the same logic that is applied to the party switch argument, and it's ridiculous. At the end of the day, anyone paying attention knows that the Democrat Party just uses minorities to achieve their political ends. Nothing has changed over the years, and the parties never did switch. But of course, now they want to make Juneteenth this huge national celebration when it actually is a Texan celebration originally, because they're trying to pander desperately to minority individuals. And they're hoping that people do not know the facts as they stand and will not share the truth with other individuals.
People always love saying that the party switched. It's like, okay, so when did the party switch? When did they have this meeting that the party switched? Or better yet, so if they switched, then you know that the Democrats were the racist one. Like, when did it change? Because Martin Luther King, was Republican. He was against Democrats. So what year did this change? I don't see much of a difference of the Democrats back then and the Democrats now. They keep saying the same things. They still want illegals to work for pennies. They still want slave labor in our fields, in our bathroom, child labor, just as long as they don't have to do it. They still have the same mindset to import slaves to do the dirty work for no money, promising them We'll take care of you.
So your lawn maintenance is about to skyrocket because 90% of workers in the lawn maintenance industry, they come from Mexico. These are jobs that Americans will not do. I don't know if you know this, but there's not a lot of Americans lining up to haul cement in and out of buildings. So good luck.
And those very same people are the ones that call Trump racist, even though he's like, what, the second white president we ever had to date a black woman, even though he is one of the first people to ever let black and Jewish people into his hotels.
You know that picture of Epstein with Trump, right? A lot of people use that picture to say, see, Trump is a bad guy, he's part of the elites, he hung out with Epstein. But not too many people actually know the true background behind that picture. At the time Trump opened Mar-a-Lago to the public, most, if not all country clubs in Florida did not allow blacks and Jews in. First thing that Trump did after opening up to the public is sue Palm Beach County and allow blacks and Jews in. Such people living in Florida did not have a country club to go to, and all of a sudden Mar-a-Lago opened up, so where did they want to go? Of course they wanted to go to Mar-a-Lago. And one of those rich financial advisors at the time was Jeffrey Epstein. So that viral picture that everybody goes crazy about of Epstein being in Mar-a-Lago was actually just Epstein being able to go to the only country club at the time, which just so happened to be Mar-a-Lago. Interesting fact about that is that when Epstein got charged for you-know-what, the second that Trump found out about it, he banned him from Mar-a-Lago. So how does that fit your narrative?
I don't know. I think a lot of people just watch the mainstream media and listen to celebrities way too much because, you know, it's easier to fool someone than to convince someone they've been fooled. But happy Juneteenth. I'm going to go shopping. I hope everyone has a great weekend. If you like this one, give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already, and I'll see you in the next one. Boy, 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 boy.